Jeff Gibbons here with another video, and in this one I'm going to be going over Izotope RX8. This software just came out today, and I've only had it for a few days, so I haven't had a huge amount of time to play around with it. But all I want to do in this video is show you some of my first impressions with it. It's not going to be exactly a tutorial, although I may do something like that in the future. But what I want to do is just put it through its paces, try some examples out. I went and recorded some samples, and we'll toss this into RX8 and just see what we can do to clean up audio. So this is restoration software for audio. And Izotope has definitely become huge in the industry for cleaning up audio. All sorts of post-production houses are using it on, major TV shows and movies and things like that. I've actually been using Izotope's software for a very long time. And I've got a very old version of the software myself. So I've been working with RX2 for ages. And so when the company contacted me and said, would you like to have a look at the software? We'll send it to you. And they're not paying me for the video, but they did send me the software. So I definitely jumped at the chance because I love their software. And the only thing I will say is I don't have any other noise reduction software or anything like that. So I'm not comparing this to anything else, but I will just be showing you my impressions, show you some samples, and help you make that decision whether, upgrading or whether buying the software for the first time is right for you. So pretty much every video I've made in the studio here has Izotope's noise reduction software on it because I use a lavalier microphone that's a little bit noisy, so I put that on there, clean up the audio a bit. And if you are doing this kind of stuff on a regular basis, you notice some of these problems that I'm going to point out today, then this is where the software becomes very applicable to you. So first off, let me explain what we're looking at here. This is the RX8 audio editor. And so we can see audio as a waveform right in the middle. And if I adjust this slider over on the left here, we can see just a traditional waveform. And if we go to the right, we get this other thing called a spectrogram, which is showing us the frequencies over time. And then this way is showing you low frequencies to high frequencies. So if we have both of them on at the same time, which is kind of the best way to look at it, you can see that we've got low frequencies down at the bottom. And then as we go up, we've got high frequencies. So there's something happening right here, maybe a little squeak or something up in the higher frequencies. And then we can see the low notes down here at the bottom. This is where you're also going to see things like rumble and low frequency hum, stuff like that. If a bird was chirping, you'd see it up here in the high frequencies. And then over on the right hand side, we've got the different modules. So this is the full version here. So we've got all of these different modules, and different versions of RX8 will have less of these modules over on the right hand side. So you can look for the package that works best for you. So up top we have the repair modules, and then below that we've got some of these utilities like just raising the gain. So for this, all I'm going to do is press play, and if I press play from this button or the space bar, it just plays from the beginning. If I press this one, it's going to play from the selection or from the playhead. If I select a chunk and I press play, it's just going to start from that selection. And then over here we can see we can make some different types of selections. So if I choose this tool right here, I can choose a range of frequencies. And watch what happens if I press play with this little selection tool. It's just showing me these mid-range frequencies that I've got selected. If I go up here, I can play higher frequencies. And then down here, I can play lower frequencies. And then mid frequencies. And if I choose this one right here, I can go and choose a range of frequencies all the way across the board kind of thing. And I can do something like this. So a really neat way to quickly audition things with these different tools. And if you press return or enter on a PC, you'll go back to the beginning. All right, so let's go back to the regular selection tool. You're going to find yourself going to that one pretty often. And then over here, we've got some other interesting tools. We can select a range of frequencies like this. So this is really bizarre for audio engineers who maybe also use Photoshop. It starts to feel a little bit like Photoshop using a lasso tool or a brush. I can brush in a certain range of frequencies and play that. And then over here we've got a magic wand tool which selects what it thinks is a range of frequencies that you might be interested in. So let's have a quick look at the guitar denoise module. Let's have a listen to this acoustic guitar. So with this little ear icon, what we can do is hear just what the software is going to be reducing or getting rid of. So if I click that little ear and hit preview, we're going to hear just the squeaks. And so the nice thing about that is you know that it's not going to be reducing anything else. It's not going to change the sound of this guitar. And that's huge. It's not just some kind of EQ. It's very intelligent and can figure out what is a squeak and what is a guitar chord or guitar note. So let's set the reduction really high. We're going to hit the render button and we'll watch these squeaks disappear. And let's have a listen. So it's not like it's just silencing the sound right there. It's just getting rid of those super high frequency squeaks. So it's quite impressive. So there are two other modules in here. The amplifier one, which is designed to clean up kind of noisy guitar amps. And then the pick sensitivity, which is designed to reduce the attack of the pick. But what I'll do is include a link at the bottom for all of the new features where they show some really nice examples of that. So a few other things that are new to the software: wow and flutter module. That one is designed to get rid of any wobble of pitch. So if you record a record or a tape, so getting very specific for people who are transferring audio from records or from tape. They've also got a loudness control module designed to set your audio or your final mix to certain industry standards. Like even something like podcast delivery, right? If you have some kind of voice thing, you put it on the podcast delivery and it will set the audio to the appropriate levels according to the loudness standards. They've also got improved batch processing, so you can do all sorts of files at the same time. And then they've also got a spectral recovery module right here designed to improve the sound of audio that was captured off of something like a Zoom call or an internet call. So what we've got here is a little chunk of audio that I recorded from my phone, and just to imitate the sound of a phone call, a phone memo, or a Zoom call, something like that. And you can see in this audio that we've got the low frequencies of my voice, but you're pretty much losing the entire top end of the frequency range, and that's why things sound so bad. So let's have a listen to a chunk of this audio. Maybe my voice sounds a little bit muffled, and we'll see if this restores some of the high frequencies. Just go over to learn, and it's going to analyze this audio and find a place where it figures it needs some boosting. So it says it looks like beyond somewhere around 7 kilohertz is where it needs to boost and get back some frequencies. We can see there's nothing up in this end. So let's try rendering that. And we can see that now we have frequencies extending up into the upper range. Let's see what it sounds like though. Maybe my voice sounds a little bit muffled, and we'll see if this restores some of the high frequencies. And then let's undo that and listen to it again. Maybe my voice sounds a little bit muffled, and we'll see if this gives us back some of those high frequencies that were lost, and not just in the S's, but in the rest of my voice as well. So let's look at some of the more music featured modules. So here is a little music track. Let's play with this music rebalance. This is something that will be really interesting to musicians. And with music rebalance, it can analyze a mix, and it can then go in, remove the vocals, it can remove the bass or boost the bass, the percussion, and then we have the other instruments. So the other instruments just being pretty much anything else. Let's try removing the vocals by just bringing that slider all the way down, or press preview. And then listen to it again. There's something in the way we fool ourselves. With the vocals gone. So you can still hear a little bit of artifacts on some of the S's and things like that, but pretty incredible. It's not just a question of, phase reversing and getting rid of the frequencies in the middle. It's doing something much, much more than that, and it sounds incredible in my opinion. We could go in and we could reduce the levels of the vocals, so have them a lot quieter. Let's listen to that. And then let's crank up the vocals. There's something in the way we fool ourselves. Let's try removing the bass.
There's something in the way we fool ourselves.
And what's blowing my mind on stuff like removing the bass is it's removing the bass notes, but it's not removing the bass drum. We can do the same thing with the percussion. So let's get rid of the drums. Have a listen to that.
There's something in the way we fool ourselves. Losing passion when we just get overwhelmed.
So we can still hear the bass frequencies, but the bass drum is gone, the snare drum is gone, and percussive elements are gone. It is quite impressive. Let's remove the other elements.
Waiting in shallow waters, keeping dry.
So you can still hear some sort of ghosting in there, but you really could use this software to rip the vocals out of something. Oh, let's try that. Let's just get rid of everything except for the vocals.
There's something in the way we fool ourselves. Losing passion when we just get overwhelmed.
So it's not exactly perfect. You can hear a little bit of artifacting in there. I do recognize that, but it is still blowing my mind how much you can get rid of the other elements and what that would mean for remixing. As soon as you drop something in with other elements, other instruments and stuff like that, you're going to have pretty impressive results. And then the last thing I'll say about it is you can actually separate all of the elements, so the vocal, the bass, the percussion, and then the other elements, and then you can separate them and it will actually make 4 different mixes of this audio for you. And then I hit separate. Now what happens is we have 4 different chunks. We've got the vocal, we've got the percussion, we've got the bass, and then we've got the other instruments as separate files. We could go in and do some cleanup.
There's something in the way we fool.
Go to the percussion. Use that for a loop if we wanted to. We've got the bass. And then we've got the other instruments right here. Pretty incredible software. So I do feel like the music rebalance module could be the most exciting one for people who are into sampling and remixing, stuff like that. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a bunch of really quick previews of certain modules. Denoising, trying the fan. So let's try voice denoise and see how this works. We've got a learn mode or we've got an adaptive mode. And adaptive is going to just try and figure it out as it goes. So we can hit preview. Denoising, trying the fan. Denoising, trying the fan. Let's crank up the reduction. Denoising, trying the fan. Denoising, trying the fan. Pretty impressive reduction. And we've got it set to dialogue as well right now. If I hit render, of course, that puts the change into effect. Denoising, trying the fan. So let's try the lav. You can hear the audio, it's a little bit different, but let's try denoise, voice denoise. Denoising, trying the fan at a little bit closer proximity. See how well it gets rid of the fan noise. We'll leave it on adaptive. Denoising, trying the fan at a little bit closer proximity. Does a really good job of cleaning things up. And if you want to use the learn mode, sometimes you get better results. So what you can do is make a selection like this of a spot where there's noise. So you can see all of this frequency noise. And then you hit learn. And it learns the noise in this section. And then I can select all, Command A or Control A. And then I can now go preview. Denoising, trying the fan at a little bit closer proximity. Pretty impressive results. And you're not going to get that sort of swirly, swimmy, comb filtery kind of sound that you get with bad noise reduction software. All right, let's check out some other modules. So this module is one that blew my mind the most, and this is the declip module. Checking this audio to see how the declipping module works. And here we can see a threshold. Let's put it somewhere like that. I'm going to go preview. Checking this audio to see how the declipping module works. Post limiter. Let's take the makeup gain down because this doesn't need to be that loud. Checking this audio to see how the declipping module works. Okay, and then let's bypass it. Checking this audio to see how the declipping module works. Checking this audio to see how the declipping module works. This one didn't take this audio that I had that was distorted and make it perfect, but it made it so much more listenable than it was when I first got it. And usually when something's clipped, there's nothing you can do about it. And a lot of times clipping is something that happens only once or twice in, say, a recording. Maybe somebody shouts and their audio gets really distorted. So being able to try to rescue it with something like declipping is awesome and quite impressive. So the next module I'll show you is called Spectral Repair, and in this case you can see a car beep that's happening while I'm talking. There's a beep in the background. Maybe I'll get a little bit closer. And so this beep keeps happening, and if you look on the spectrogram you can see that this beep is in a very specific spot. It's right at this certain frequency, and it's very specific. Unfortunately, my voice is in that range as well, but let's go right to the spectrogram. Let's get rid of the waveform for a second. And what we'll do is we'll try the lasso tool, and we are going to just select these frequencies right here. And then I'm going to hold Shift and get rid of these ones as well. And then I'm going to go to Spectral Repair, and I'm going to try a couple of things. We're probably just going to go Attenuate, because we just want to reduce these frequencies. Beep in the background. Let's take the strength all the way up. Let's go to Render. Beep in the background. And you can hear that got rid of it pretty nicely. There's a beep in the background. And didn't change my voice too much when I'm talking right here. So it's reducing the level of those beep. If we do it again, let's see what happens if we do it a couple of times. Maybe 3 times. There's a beep in the background. Pretty incredible, because that is happening while I'm actually talking. So it's going through and getting rid of that sound. There's also ways that you can replace audio, and I haven't had time to really go over this and learn how these features work. Really getting surgical and going in and removing specific things. Okay, so the next thing I'll do is just show you how to use this software in Cubase. I've got this little chunk of audio here, this noisy chunk of audio, and denoising, trying the fan. And so a couple of different ways you can use the software. One of them is to go onto the inserts of a channel and go over to restoration. So you can see a bunch of the modules show up right here. Not all of them, but most of the main ones that you would need. So all you need to do here is go to something like voice denoise. I can choose a section like this little spot right here as my profile. So if I turn off adaptive mode, I can learn by pressing the button after I press play. So here we can see our noise profile. And then now once we've learned that, we press play. Denoising, trying the fan. Then turn it off. Denoising, trying the fan. So it's running through it in real time. You could leave it on a track just like that, and when you export your project, it'll get rid of all the noise. And then another way you can use effects like this in Cubase is to go up to the audio menu, go to plugins, and then go to restoration, and then go to voice denoise. I could make a key command for this, which I've already done for some of them. And in this case, I'd leave it on adaptive mode, hit apply, and we can see the noise reduction has changed the audio right here. So let's have a listen to it. Denoising, trying the fan. Denoising, trying the fan. And then if I go and trash that one, denoising, trying the fan. So that's how we can do things with this direct offline processing in Cubase. The next way that we hope to be able to do this soon is to go to RX8 Connect. And I've been having some issues with that, because what I'm supposed to be able to do is click on that, hit apply, and then that should open this chunk of audio inside RX8. And there we can see it's a little bit different. We got this Cubase and we've got the send back control. So here I would normally go over to voice denoise, hit render, do all of my changes to my audio, all the different modules. So here we've done the voice denoise, denoising. And then what we're supposed to do is hit send back, and then we hit apply. It says process, but it actually, in Cubase, we need to hit apply. And then here we see it did actually make that change. Denoising, trying the fan. And I've had some situations where the second time I hit apply, it actually doesn't make the change. It opens it back up in RX8. So if that does happen to you, the people at Izotope have told me that they're working on a fix for that. So I am just scratching the surface of this software, but I really do think it is an incredible package. So thanks to Izotope for letting me try it out, and make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell, and we'll see you in the next video.